Thank you. Welcome to the August Friday Community Connect. Thank you for being here, or thank you for watching later when you have time. We want to welcome the Westgate Board of Directors here. They will be speaking first, and then I will do a community connect to catch everyone up on what's happening in August and September. So welcome to the Friday Community Connect. Dan?
All right, thank you, Sharon. I am the president of the Westgate Board of Directors, and we do our annual presentation at a Community Connect these days. You should now be seeing our community presentation on your screens. This is kind of a general get to know the board, what we're about presentation. We look at it having an agenda where we typically do these things that you can see, that we're a charter school and what that means, that the board of directors are Westgate families, some community, the committees we have, ways to help join and support our school, and how and why and when to connect with the board of directors. Kind of moving on, we're going to have Jeff jump in and talk about the charter school model and how we work.
Thank you, Dan. Real quick, I should probably introduce myself. I'm absolutely honored to be part of the board of directors. Absolutely honored. I retired after a couple of decades out of the United States military as a broadcast journalist and a public affairs chief, and I spent about the last decade dedicating my life to my family as a homemaker. But enough about that. Let's talk about charter schools real quick. We're basically public schools. We are funded with our taxpayer dollars, so we have a right to know anything that goes with that money. We are bound by state and federal laws. Our authorizer, which would be our district, is Adams 12. We have a little wiggle room. We do a little bit things differently, but never at the expense of academic excellence. And you can read the rest of this. Dan, do you mind moving on to the next slide, please? Or can I do that?
It's moved.
All right. So, our mission. This is who we are. And I absolutely love Westgate because of our mission statement, this one sentence. I want to pull out just a few quick words on this sentence. We nurture all students, the whole child education. We're concerned about all aspects of that child so they can have a better education environment. We're concerned with their comfort. We're concerned with if they're having a bad day, they can go see our children can go see one of the counselors and pet a dog. We have a dog, Blanche. You don't get more Colorado than that. Having a bad day, go see one of the counselors, pet that dog, then move out and get a better education. My favorite part of these two sentences is our vision statement. This is where we aspire to go. And I'm going to read the last part of this statement. Creativity, authenticity, inclusivity, collaboration, and academic excellence. Everybody, all schools are flawed a little bit, but let me tell you about our academic excellence. The majority of the graduating class of 2024 graduated with a college diploma in their back pocket. That is academic excellence. I'm going to quickly talk about the inclusivity. The DeVecchia family and my family went in halves on that very first parking spot, the very, very first one where the big tree, and then you've got the Westgate monument there. It says for veterans only. However, we want to extend it to emergencies. If you need to go take care of your precious cargo, you need an emergency, you need to go bring your kids' clothes, whatever the situation is, park there, because we want you to get as close as possible to your precious cargo, because that is the Westgate spirit. Thank you, Dan. I think Corey's next.
Yes, hello. My name is Corey Arthur. As a charter school, Westgate is governed by a board of directors, and this is us. So again, my name is Corey Arthur. I am currently the vice president. I have kids in third and 7th, and they have both been here for the majority of their schooling. So, and Dan, you met earlier, is our board president this year, currently in his last year of his second term. So will definitely be a seat or two open next year, because our board treasurer, Lauren Roybal, is also in her last year. Mario Acklin, who is not here today, is our board secretary, has a son in 11th and a child who has already graduated. I actually didn't mention that about Dan as well. He also has had several children through the school and a graduate. Carrie Horn is one of our newer board members and is the liaison to the School Accountability Committee, which, for those of you out there looking for a way to get involved, that is one of the best. More information coming later in this presentation. So you just met Jeff. Jeff is also one of our newer board members, with a kid in 10th and another child who has already graduated. He is our liaison to the Building Corps Committee. And Robin LaRue, our final newest member, kids in 3rd and 6th, and is our liaison to the Events Committee. So that is our crew this year. We are, just like Jeff said, honored to serve the school and your kids and the community as a whole. So as a board, we do operate by a few rules. We have our own set of bylaws and guidelines, but just a few highlights here. Some of the things we do is set the general direction and the policy of the school to ensure that all decisions are made in adherence to the school's mission and vision. Those two statements that Jeff showed you earlier guide everything that we do as a board. We also try to create and maintain this, or not try, we do create and maintain the school's strategic plan, which we updated, I believe, last year and put out a nice little pretty handout that is available if you would like. And we also oversee and verify school finances. So some of the things we do not do: we do not overlap or interfere with the responsibility of the executive director or your kids' teachers, or a lot of the day-to-day school operations that go on at Westgate. So, you have issues with curriculum, that's not our avenue. There are a lot of things that we unfortunately cannot help you with, but we would be more than happy to point you in the right direction, which we will also do later in this presentation.
All right. I have printed talking points. Bear with me. It's going to be fascinating, because really this is our strategic plan. So these are for what we're calling pillars, that for areas that we're really trying to excel in. So I'm just going to zip through some highlights. Financial stability. Our administration is currently doing an outstanding job with our finances. Indicators like how well our budget is aligned with reality, having enough financial reserves to meet requirements, keep insurance rates low, that sort of thing. And also making sure that teacher salaries are high enough that we can recruit and keep really talented educators. Academic achievement is another element of the strategic plan. Our high school is where Westgate really shines when it comes to academic achievement. 100% graduation rates, 50% of the students last year did, as Jeff mentioned, finish with associate's degrees, and all of those graduates had college credits through Front Range. We also have received a performance rating from the Colorado Department of Education for 13 years in a row. And for some reason, every time I hear performance rating, I'm like, oh, does that mean, no, it's good. It's good. It's the highest rating We're doing really well in terms of all that. When it comes to student growth in K through 8, so the elementary and middle grades, we're on track with the Adams 12 school district as a whole. So that's when we compare our growth in tests like CMAS, MAPS, PALS. You're going to hear about School Accountability Committee shortly. So families who are interested in untangling that data, making recommendations, on matters of student achievement, like that's the place to go. 2 more bullets. Whole child learning is what brought my family to Westgate. And the annual family survey, like every year, is like, yes, it's whole child and no homework. Like, that's why we're here. But that emphasis on social emotional learning and the importance of like honoring what does your body need, what does your brain need, explicitly teaching kids how to advocate for themselves in safe and effective ways. Like, that's the foundation for that you've got to have before any learning can happen. So I just really value that for my kids. And finally, community relationships. Like, how are families experiencing the school? Are parents feeling connected? Do they feel informed about the student's experience? Are they comfortable reaching out and asking questions? Because you're going to have questions and we want people to be engaging in that dialogue. So as others have hinted at, we're going to talk more about communication later. It's one of my favorite topics. And now we're moving on to the next slide, which is still me. Committees. Committees are an incredible entry point, both to support the school and to make personal connections with other parents, the staff at the school, and they also, committee members get to help shape the school. They help figure out what is tomorrow going to look like. So I am liaison to the events committee, which I kind of want to call the fun committee. Jenny English is the chair, but there's just like this incredible group of parents who form the core of volunteers, and they just like make magic happen for all sorts of events. There are really simple fundraising programs like box tops and King Supers. They help support teachers with meals on super long conference days, and they bring the community together at things like the carnival and trunk or treat. There's a ton more, but they're amazing at communication. So I'm going to zip it and stop there. The only thing I'll mention is that the meeting schedule, it's been Tuesday mornings forever, but we're going to move to some Monday afternoons, which means if you come to an events meeting, you don't have to sit in car line. You can just have your kid call down at the end. Woo! So watch the calendar. Maybe we'll see you on Monday the 16th. And I will stop there. I think it's Carrie next.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm Carrie Horn. This is my second year on the board. And I was previously the liaison with Robin to Events Committee last year. And then this year I'm partnering with Mario on the School Accountability Committee. So I really want to put a big plug in for the SAC committee. This is a vital committee for all charter schools and especially for us. So while the board does a lot more kind of oversight and bigger picture things, SAC is the committee that really digs into those details around the education that we're providing and the quality improvement we do around those processes. It is parent or guardian led, and we really need that parent input for this committee. We do have representation from administration and from teachers, but also very importantly, the families. So this is the group that's digging into test scores and year over year trends. They're the group that manage the family survey every year to help us guide changes throughout the facility. And they report up to the board of directors. They report to Sharon. So it's a really fun committee. I encourage people, if you want to get involved, this is a great way to learn more about kind of what we really do at the school. And our next meeting is August 29th at 5:30. The link will be posted shortly, but we hope to see a lot of people there. And then the next committee I'm going to talk about is finance. So the finance committee is partnered with Terry McCafferty, who's our director of business and who's been doing a phenomenal job for our school. Lauren Roybal is our board liaison. And I just want to assure everybody that Westgate is in a very healthy financial position. The finance committee helps to oversee that. We have audits and we are clean every year. And we've been doing a lot of good work with cash reserves and investing. So we're continuing to earn money on our money. I don't know when the next meeting is scheduled just yet, but we will get that posted and encourage people to participate if they're interested. And Corey is next with grants.
Yes, I am the liaison for the grants committee, and I am actually going to start at the bottom of the slide because I am super excited that we have an email now that anybody interested in learning about grants or has experience writing grants or just wants to have a say in what we spend money on or find money for, please send an email to grants@westgateschool.org. As the next line up, you see we do not have our next meeting set yet as we are recruiting. We are trying to get a group of folks so that we can get together and make a difference. So now I will jump back up to the top with some of the things that past grants have paid for at our school, including playgrounds and the animals and the coops and the pens and the amphitheater. Not sure if any of you noticed the kids are super excited about new swings this year. So, and of course, outdoor classrooms. But our focus this year will be applying for the Building Excellent Schools Today grant, which is also known as the BEST grant. We have some big ticket projects that will make everyday life much better at Westgate, and we are super excited about that. So.
I will be brief. So you can learn about everyone on our board, find everyone's email address on the board of directors page of our website. Ooh. Am I here still? On the page of our website. I kicked back, sorry. Announcements from the board are going to come through channels like the email distribution list or the Westgate Wire. Meetings are open to the public. They are on the calendar. There are Teams links. So like, come to a meeting, please. Come in person if you want. Just get there on time because what is it? Not the round table. Open mic is it's at the very top. So if you'd like to come and speak, absolutely, please do. You can also, again, come on Teams, participate in that open mic and listen to the rest. That is where you find out everything that's going on. You find out like all the behind the scenes secrets. It's super fun. They're not really secrets, but I enjoy knowing what's behind the scenes. So anyways, open forums, time for members of the community to share feedback, share compliments, to share concerns. But to be really clear, in those meetings, administration and the board is not always going to be like, here is a really satisfying response to exactly what you're saying, because it is a public forum and not everything can have, some things have to be handled. But if you come speak, because your voice will be heard and your time will be appreciated. And the next slide. This is where we get actionable. So this is our communications pathway. It's on the website. If you ever, as a parent, have a concern, have a problem that needs a solution, this is where you go. This is your guide. Email is really recommended. Like, even if you have a conversation, I'm always like, send a little to sum up what we talked about. Again, just to have that information in writing. And it's not because we're getting weird. It's because then we have a really clear understanding. If the next person gets involved, they can say, okay, I know what has happened so far. I can pick this up. And I want to acknowledge that this diagram can feel really frustrating. Like if you're looking at it and you're like, I have to do all of this to solve my problem. Usually you don't. Usually you contact the person who you have a question of and they answer your question. Usually it doesn't get that far. This is just available to let you know. And as someone who wants everyone to feel really comfortable advocating, I hope that if you ever have cause to sort of get onto this ladder, that you will keep going. Advocacy is exhausting, but I do hope that people feel empowered to ask questions, have conversations, stay curious, all of that. The board's at the end of all the chains. So what I wrote here, does that mean you can't tell the board what you think until you've moved through? No, really, no. We want to hear it. We want to hear the good, the bad. We just can't act on things that you tell us when you like see us on the playground or any events. You're, it's not actionable. So we want to hear everything. We want to know. But if you want change to happen for your child, for your family, this is the way to do it. Done.
I wasn't aware of the graphic. Get involved. We've been talking about that this whole time. And the Westgate community should know that the last three board of directors were elected because we showed up. We need the parents to come to these meetings virtually at first. If you want to come physically, I'm sure we can make accommodations. It's a school, there's big rooms. But we need you got to come, say your voice. We want to hear what you have to say and know what we're voting on, know how we're spending money. This is a public meeting for all of us to know exactly what's going on here at Westgate. And you can read the bullets as you want. Dan?
Sorry, I could not find the unmute there. So it's kind of the last piece of our presentation. We, like Jeff said and Robin mentioned and kind of everybody said, we really want you guys to be involved as well. Our next meeting is Tuesday, September 17th at 6 p.m. It is listed currently on the calendar as a virtual meeting that may shift to be in person and virtual. All meetings are at least virtual, so you can always join virtually. We've got some things with the next meeting, which is our audit coming in, that we try and make in person. So this one, we're trying to decide how we play it. But like everybody said, we want you to be involved as a community. You're more than welcome at those meetings. As Robin mentioned, very top of the meeting, we have 15 minutes chunked out for community input, open mic, where anybody can talk about the topics they've got. And again, like Robin mentioned, we may not be able to resolve your issue in the meeting, but you will be heard, acknowledged. We just can't always dive into those. There are certain things if it's a personnel issue, we can't talk about those in a public meeting and about things with personnel. But we will definitely hear you. Admin will hear you because Sharon's always in these meetings. Cassie Seabolt's in these meetings. Our finance director, Terry, is in these meetings in addition to the whole board. So that's kind of the formal end of our presentation. I did notice one comment in the meeting chat. We completely agree with your comment. Brianne, if I'm pronouncing your name right, one of our biggest goals is to pay our teachers at or above the level of their peers. And that's been a kind of a long process that Westgate has worked on through the board, through admin, through finance. And we've really pushed them up to that point in the last few years. So not going to say teachers are going to buy $1 million homes next week, but they are getting paid at the rates of everyone else in the district. And they didn't used to be honest. We pushed them up to that level in the last 3 or 4 years and continue to keep them at that level. That is I'd say our primary financial goal is to keep our employees paid in league with their peers. I don't see any other questions in the chat for our side. I'm going to throw this back to Sharon and stop presenting so she can continue with the rest of the Community Connect.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to the board. Volunteering their time and all of their knowledge and background to the school. It's what makes Westgate great. So over the last 11 years, so many people have given time to our board, and I just am grateful for all of the volunteers over the last really 15 years of the school who started the school and then give their time every week, every month. So really grateful. So let me do this. All right. Welcome to the second half of the Friday Community Connect. And I want to start off with Red Robin Spirit Night was so awesome last night. Got to go and see so many families and kids, and just it was a wonderful night. And if you can make ever those spirit nights, it's a wonderful way to connect. And it just really, thank you, events. I'm going to put out again that the next meeting's Monday, the 16th of September at 2:00, and we'll end at 3:30, and we'll call your kids down. You'll be parked, so you miss Carline. Awesome. So a little bit of an incentive there for the events committee. And keep a watch for the newsletter, because different opportunities just to volunteer. If you can't be on the committee, but you say, oh, I have an hour to volunteer here or there, they send out sign up geniuses so you can get as involved as you want to in the events around the school. Just a little bit about what we're going to be doing. Corey talked a little bit about the first item, which is our playground upgrade. And I'm super excited. You may have already seen the fence is up. So the construction fence is up and groundwork has begun leveling the place. So they're doing that. They're going to be pouring the concrete, and they're the installation of swings. We're giving a far out with hopes that it'll happen first. They said by sure end of October. They're giving us between September 15th and October 15th as the installation. They're still waiting for the swings to be delivered, but all of the ground prep work is happening. So super excited about that. Thank you to the board for voting to use some general fund to get this extension done. Last year, we kept noticing the blue swing in the blue playground area kept breaking. And it was because so many kids were trying to get on it at once and use it. And really, it can't take that weight and that kind of use. So we had that fixed last year over the summer. And then the board approved building the swing pit. There's going to be 6 regular swings and 2 tire swings so that friends can sit in the tire swings together, and it'll just be another fun activity for our students to do during recess and then also on the weekends and after school. Spirit Week is next week. Monday is favorite team day, so wear your favorite team jerseys or t-shirts, hats. Tuesday is team color day. So kindergarten, you can wear all the purple. 1-2 is red. 3-4 is green. 5-6 is blue. 7-8 is gray, and our high school team color is black. So wear those team colors on Tuesday. Wednesday is Wacky Wednesday, and maybe go for people who are old enough to remember crisscross, wear your clothes backwards or inside out or crazy socks, all of the fun things. Thursday, crazy hat or hair day. Last year we had a student with ramen noodles and chopsticks, so get on Pinterest and see what's out there for crazy hair day. And then Friday is a half day, and we are just going to wear our jammies to school that day and have a great morning of education. And then in the afternoon, teachers will stay on campus and we do an afternoon of professional development. So I wanted to talk a little bit, our first Friday Community Connect in August was all about logistics and car line and back to school night and all of the things you needed to know for first day of school. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the scope and sequence and some changes that are happening to the beginning of school year. Typically in September, we have a curriculum night. What we have noticed since COVID, but the last 2 years, we've been taking attendance both in person and looking to see how many people are watching those curriculum night videos that the teachers create. And last year we had about 10 people show up in person and about 30 people open and watch the curriculum night videos. So we knew that that wasn't landing, and we've gotten some feedback from parents and teachers, and I'll talk about what we're going to do instead of curriculum night. But to make sure that our parents have access to our curriculum at all times, a scope and sequence has been added to the website. And so where do you find this? Under academics, academic programming, and you can either go to K-8 or high school. And you can see really by month and day, both for literacy and math, what your kids, what units they're in, what they're doing. So as a third grade mom, I went to it to see, what is happening in math, like day 4 of school. And I went to the day and down, and it said multiplication and division. And then I could have conversations with my son, say, what'd you do in math today? And I kind of already knew what he should be saying. So those scope and sequence are on there, as well as science and social studies. Science and social studies hasn't changed this year. Big Ideas Math is continuing in our math instruction. That's been our core curriculum for the last 3 years. We did extend Big Ideas Math into the high school for Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. That last year was a curricular year that we looked at, do we want to stay with the math that we've been using in high school, or do we want to continue with Big Ideas? And the teachers, as well as the administrators, looked at the math curriculum and decided to continue with Big Ideas Math. So you'll see that. EdLeo posts. As parents, you should already be getting your weekly EdLeo. So with the scope and sequence and your weekly EdLeo post, as parents, you should feel very, very comfortable with what your students are doing. And I'll take questions at the end. I have a few slides on this, so your question may be answered. So that is there. If you're not getting EdLeo posts, reach out to your student's teacher for that subject, and then they can make sure that your email is added. For specials, you do have to go in and sign up. Since they don't have all students all of the time, go in and sign up, and you'll start to get those weekly posts as well. High school, your children have syllabus for their high school classes as well as their college classes, and they have their EdLeo posts as well, and they're very, very detailed. The scope and sequence, EdLeo posts, all of teachers' planning is based around the Colorado standards, educational standards, and we want to make sure that all of our students are getting access to all of those standards every single year. Next, so what will replace curriculum night? And we heard loud and clear, and Robin said this in the board presentation as well, is parents are craving connection, and connection with teachers, connection with one another, and that's what we're planning to do. So we are planning community engagement nights for every single team. We already hosted the high school first community engagement night. And I want to thank all the parents and families who came out to the community engagement night. And I want to thank our high school staff who hosted and created all of these wonderful icebreakers and get to know one another. And we all sat together. We had better show turnout. We had over 30 parents come to the high school night. So better turnout than the last two curriculum nights. So I'm super excited about changing this and allowing teachers and parents to engage in different ways. By the end of the high school night, parents were exchanging phone numbers. They got into grade levels, wrote their phone numbers down, names, so they have a support with one another if they need help with a ride to school or picking up their child at Front Range. They can connect with one another. And so I think that's super exciting. And everyone will be hearing about this at different grade levels. We are also going to be doing some specials nights for parents and their children to connect and also get to know the specials teachers a little more. And so those will have signups because there'll be limited seating, but we'll have those throughout the night too that you can sign up and maybe learn to play some of the games from PE with Mr. Anderson, or do, a juice box and painting with your child with Miss H. So, learn to play the guitar with your child and Mr. Hobson. Do one of the builds that they're doing in iLab. So those kind of connections seemed more important to our community. So we want to make sure you have access to the curriculum and the scope and sequence, as well as what's happening daily and weekly in your class through Edleo posts, and then also invite you in to get to know the teachers better and get to know one another better as well. So that's how we're replacing curriculum night. So you'll start to see those again. High school had theirs in August, and then you'll start to see them through the rest of the fall for the other teams. And those are just good connection nights. Okay. I'm going to, oops. The staff at Westgate wrote this piece, and I've shared it with the board, and I want to share it with you. And then we're going to talk a little bit about some changes that happened at Westgate this year and the why. So this is what we believe at Westgate. So we, the staff of Westgate Community School, in order to provide our students with the best available educational opportunity, believe the following: that academically in classrooms, all students are engaged in challenging, problem-based, hands-on, authentic learning. Students are using technology appropriately, expressing their creativity and individuality, and owning their education by leading the learning. Teachers are facilitating, grouping by ability, differentiating, and checking in with students regularly. That our learning environment will support our universal design expectations. There will be common locations for key items, and instruction is available and accessible to all students. Our space will be respected by all, and routines are practiced and strong so that transitions are seamless and the space is safe, comfortable, and welcoming for all. That everybody at Westgate matters, that every student and every staff member is a critical member of our community. We will strive to have responsive classrooms, positive language, creative and safe spaces for success and for failure, and a culture of teamwork and community celebration. RISE will be practiced school-wide, and we will be advocates for our students while teaching them to self-advocate. And that is sort of the mission and vision that Jeff Hilton went through in the teacher's words, sort of how that looks and what we feel about our school, our community, and whole child education. So teaching and learning at Westgate. Social emotional learning happens every day. There's advocacy so when you hear your child talking about their advocate and advocacy, that's a class where these skills are concretely and deliberately taught every single day. Students start their day in circle. They are greeted by name. They get to share their thoughts with their classmates. They problem solve in this area, and they learn a lot of really important executive functioning skills, self-regulation skills, community building skills within this classroom, and that happens every single day. Needs-based differentiation, K-12 at Westgate. This is happening throughout the building and continues to happen throughout the building. We did make some changes that I'll talk about in terms of decreasing the number of transitions, especially for our K-5 students, and that extended to K-6. K-5 is elementary. 6 usually begins middle school, but at Westgate, 5th and 6th is together. So every class is needs-based. Teachers are differentiating. They're teaching in small groups within the classroom to meet the needs of the students so that they can scaffold for some students and extend for others. They are using depth and complexity. All teachers at Westgate are trained in depth and complexity, and our new teachers this year will be trained as well. And this is a gifted best practice educational strategy. And you can look that up and learn more about it. But all of our teachers use this, and it's gifted education all day, every day, in every class using the depth and complexity approach. Radical acceleration or grade skipping in terms of different subject areas is happening throughout the building. So we do have first or second graders, first graders who may be going up to second grade math or third grade math. That still happens throughout the building. We still have middle schoolers who go to the high school for math instruction as well. So if that's something that you believe is right for your child, you should reach out first to the teacher. This is done in collaboration with the district and through Cassie Siebold as our gifted coordinator. So lots of data has to be collected in order to do those radical accelerations because we need to make sure not only is the child academically ready, that there aren't gaps and skills lacking in different areas so that they're ready for the acceleration, but that also social and emotionally they're ready to be with older students. We collected feedback from parents, staff, and students when we decided K-6 to reduce some of the transitions. So students have one teacher most of the day, and then they start to switch for science and social studies. They still transition, obviously, for specials. They transition out to recesses. They transition to advocacy. So during the day, even with reducing transitions, our kids still move a lot from advocate to teacher to recess, back. And what we have found and what the research and best practices is showing that post-COVID, transitions are more difficult for students. And we were noticing a loss of instructional time as well as instructional impact with students at younger ages moving so much. We want to build that capacity to transition in a way that's calm and in a way that supports instruction rather than takes instructional minutes away from kids. So we used feedback, parents sharing with us that it's too much for their kids, it's too much movement, teachers were aware of it, and we looked at data. What is our achievement? What's our growth for our students? Social, emotionally, what are we seeing in terms of the data behaviorally throughout the students? Are we having students need to take more breaks and calm down because of the additional transitions? So we looked at all of that and saw our achievement and growth, although we are a performance school and we're doing great, it wasn't growing year to year since COVID. And so we needed to take a look at the research, and what it's showing is one teacher differentiating within the classroom for students and teaching in small groups is being found to be more impactful for student achievement and growth at this time. So we decided to put that research into practice and follow best practices. And that's what we've always done here at Westgate. So students are still being accelerated. They're still being challenged every single day, and students are still being supported. So that is happening within the classroom, and teachers will be able to speak to you about your child and what they are doing to accelerate or enhance their learning, ask about the depth and complexity. And then also, if your child is struggling in an area, you can ask the teacher what the small group is doing to scaffold that learning and support that learning. Fewer transition supports instruction, executive functioning skills, as well as emotional regulation. In 7-8, the students are transitioning every hour like they would in a typical middle school. So they transition for every single class. So we build that capacity up until 7th grade. And then in high school, obviously, not only are students moving between classrooms and teachers, but they are also transitioning over to front range, getting to those classes, and then and taking care of their studying needs there and everything else. So please, if you have questions about what's going on for your child, ask, be curious, say, this feels a little different, or my child says, they're in your class for the morning. Tell me what that looks like. What kind of small groups are you running? How are you extending for my child? Those are questions that teachers can answer very, very specifically about your child. And then again, you may hear like, oh, a second grader came into our 3rd grade math class. Yes, that's still happening. So you may hear your children talk about that as well. If you're not getting answers from your teacher, go to your assistant principal. If you're not getting answers there, again, ask Cassie Siebold, ask the K-12 principal what's happening. If you're still not getting answers, come to me. We're happy to make sure that as a parent, you understand the instruction and differentiation that's happening for your child. That is a little bit about teaching and learning here, and how it may sound a little different, but the practice of what we're doing in class and the belief of gifted education for all children has not changed. It's just teachers are doing it within their classrooms for students so that they're supporting also those executive functioning skills and self-regulation by reducing the amount of transitions throughout the day. This is something you're going to be getting emails from Adams 12. And there is an Adams 12 board meeting next Wednesday, August 28th at 7 p.m. at the Educational Support Center right here on 128th Street. They're asking for community to come and hear about what they're calling Blueprint, which is the funding proposals, and that the Board of Education for Adams 12 is going to vote on whether to place a bond and a mill levy on the ballot for this November. It would be $830 million for facilities investments within Adams 12. And yes, Westgate and all of the charters are included in that. So we would be getting a portion of that bond, just like we did in the last bond in 2016 that we used to furnish the school, repaint the school, and complete the environmental education campus outside. So you'll be hearing about that. If you want to hear from Chris Godowski, go to the meeting, and you can also attend virtually. And then there's $34.5 million for a mill levy override, and that would be for programming and for staffing. So curriculum, programming, and then to increase staff salaries is another use for the mill levy override. Again, Westgate and all of the charters are included in that. So if you want to hear a little bit more about that, please attend the meeting. And Again, lunches are free this year, but we would love for our families to complete the online meal benefits application and family economic data survey. This helps Westgate get full funding, both federally and from the state. So if you believe that your family may qualify for partial or full federal funding, please fill out this application. It does help Westgate receive those dollars from the federal government. So go in and fill that out, and they will let you know if you qualify. And then that also helps with things like student fees and some other things that you can talk to our business office about. And then some important upcoming dates. Boy, by the end of September, we have so much going on. Again, events committee rock stars, thank you so much. Rockies game, this came out big on the parent survey as well, that the community wanted to get together for some sporting events. So I know we had quite a few families take advantage. So have a wonderful time at the Rockies game this Monday, 26th. Next week is the Spirit Week. Friday, August 30th is that half day. That's our PJ day. And so we'll be doing professional development. And then you have a long weekend for Labor Day, no school on Monday. But that next Friday, September 6th, is Picture Day for all students. So mark that on your calendar for Picture Day. Tuesday, September 10th, really popular event with our students is Skate City from 5 to 7. Wednesday, the 18th is our student count day. We ask, please have your student in attendance. It helps a lot with student count. If you can avoid appointments at all, we are very grateful for that. So our student count day, September 18th. And that night is Qdoba Spirit Night over on 120th. So pick up some dinner at Qdoba that night. We have a Scholastic Book Fair at the end of September. And it's going to be open during conferences. So parents, when you come for conferences, you can come on downstairs and go through the book fair and pick out some books for your children. And Thursday is a half day. 11:30 pickup for students that day, and we have conferences in the afternoon. And then on Friday, September 27th, we run our marathon conference day from 8 in the morning to 8 p.m. So be sure to sign up for conferences. That'll be another opportunity for you to talk with teachers about what's happening with your student in the classroom and how they're meeting their individualized needs in math, literacy, science, and social studies, and then also sign up to see the specials teachers. And then we're already at fall break, if you can believe it. 2 weeks. Remember, Champions is open for care if you need it, so check that out if you need care during fall break. And then they usually do during conferences as well. So I want to thank you. That's my last slide. And I know there were some questions. Hopefully I answered some of them. Let me stop sharing here. And then let's see, Michelle, were there any questions that I didn't answer?
I think you got to most of them.
Yeah.
Most of it was curriculum stuff.
Yeah, and Julie, we made these decisions with teachers at the end of last year. We got their feedback, and then administration sort of worked on what this would look like over the summer. And we started back with the first Community Connect sort of a logistics, and it was always the thought that this Community Connect, the first one of the year, as students have started in their classrooms to really talk about teaching and learning, and also the change with curriculum night. Curriculum night was usually in September, so we wanted to talk about that. And then seeing the success of our first night, our community engagement night made us say, yes, this is the way we should be going. And then we'll be putting all of the rest of those community engagement nights on the calendar so that parents can connect. They're not for students, those nights. It's really about parent connection and parents connecting with teachers. And I'm sorry you felt in the dark. We're getting the communication out as quickly and sort of as best we can, clearly. And sometimes I think this is the best way to do that.
Great. I'm not seeing any more questions on the chat, so I think we can wrap this up. We're a little late over as it is.
Yeah, again, sorry about the technical difficulties in the middle there. So I'm glad we got back on and could finish some of these questions for you.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining us.